Dun, 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 dun. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Bum, 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 bum. What's up, party people in the house?
What up, though?
Welcome to Axis Live, one of the sexiest voices in the SFL,
Mr. Master.
Dave Axis. What's up, party people in the house? Look at us not being censored, and these guys not getting my messages to censor themselves and block their cameras. Unbelievable. What's going on? At least Tyler listens to what I say. Look at Charles and Nate just chilling there. Anyway, what's up, party people of the SFL? What's happening this Tuesday night except for the Dodgers crushing a 3-run tying homer? What's up? What's up? Hey, you know what, Charles? It's right. We're going to do this. I'm just going to do that, and we'll pretend like nobody saw you guys. That'll be a lot of fun. We'll do that. How about that? They don't even know who the other two are yet anyway, so it doesn't matter. Hey, welcome to episode 106 of Axis Live. I'm your host, Dave Axis. Welcome back, everybody. I see a lot of people in the chat. All the party people are here. As always, good to see you. We'll get to you guys in a minute. First, though, a couple quick things. Number one, I don't have the Dodger game on yet, so last I saw it was 5-5. If somebody has some Dodger news, I would appreciate that. I would appreciate that a lot, actually. That would be great.
6-5 Dodgers.
Thank you. I know. Just before I got on the air, everybody was like, "Oh, Dodgers are going down. Dave's not going to have a show. He's going to be in a bad mood." Well, I can never be in a bad mood when I'm a Dodger fan, baby. Come on. I guess Tyler, you want me to put yours up too? There you go, buddy. You can get rid of your thing now. How about that? Now that everybody knows who's on here. Anyway, let's. Before we get to the party peeps, I want to say a little birdie told me today that somebody has a birthday. Johnny Pickler. His birthday is today, so. Johnny, if you're listening, you're probably out partying, said, but happy birthday to you. If anybody else has a birthday, throw it in the chat at me in there, and we'll throw a happy birthday shout out to you as well. How about them apples? In the meantime, let's get to the party people. I still got to get one of these cameras locked on, too, while we're doing this. We've had all kinds of technical difficulties today for some reason. I guess I'm not quite back into the swing of things yet. So let's check out the party people. Let's see who's here. Freddie, is that 2 shows in a row? You're the first one in? Holy smokes. Will Todd's here. Kendra Hall. Bullet Boletsky's in the house. That's what she said. Huck. Bullet Boletsky, subscribed for 11 months. Bullet, you're stuck. You're going to be stuck with me that long, buddy? I don't have to say I'm sorry or you're welcome. Hubba Breezy's here. Tyler Falk just subscribed for 8 months. I know Tyler's already stuck with me, so that's no big deal. I think I said Nate Hall already. Maybe I just said Kendra. I don't remember. Mellow Taylor's here. EJ Minson, Boonberry, Art Vandelay, Chief Menor, Bob Funk, Will Todd just subbed to the entire community. A sub. It looks like EJ Minson maybe grabbed it. Let me see. Dave Iceberg's here. Good to see you. Coco Yo is in the house. Goals Official. I believe that's Tom Krieg. It could be Thomas Smith. I always get those two mixed up. Ray Ray's in the house. Ray, way to be on top of things for Gunny's lyrics the other night. Appreciate that for the Marines. Him. Let me see. Who else did I miss? The Mighty Joe Young. Remo Dino is here. Gunny just subscribed at tier 2. Ron Cochran. The old vet is with us. Gunny, of course. The awesome, amazing, wonderful, perfect Pink Lisa is here. We are the hype train. What level did we just hit 100% on? It looks like, are we on a level 2? Let's see what it says. It says hype. Dude, we were hyped these last couple of shows. Level 2 complete. Damn, we're going to level 3 as I need. Jacob Clear is in the house. Jacob Clear, I got to give you some props, bro. That meme you put in the Axis Live server may be the most accurate meme I've ever seen in my entire existence. Let me see who else is here. I think I've seen Dave Terry out of San Antonio, Texas. My boy is here. Ray, what are you doing? Ray Ray's tearing a sub to the Dave Axis community or the Axis Live community. If I miss your name, make sure you at me. I don't like to, you guys could be doing something else tonight. I appreciate you being here. Bryant Dynasty's in the house now. Dion Hawkins is here. What's up, Dion? How you doing, bro? I think that might be it. Ethan MX2, first time chat, helping out with the hype train. Ethan, welcome. And my old buddy, my old lookalike, Benji Matson, is in his house. Benji, welcome back, buddy. And Fillmore Slim 75 sneaking in at the last second. Those are the party people for tonight. Once again, if I missed you, please at me as we move on to our panel for tonight. I am going to stall this out a little bit while I try to get one of their cameras working. But it's not the first person. The first person's camera's working. And for those of you who don't know him, you must have been hiding under a rock the last couple seasons because everybody knows this guy. He is the owner of the Lone Star Glory. He is a glorious broadcaster, and he is my friend. Charles Doherty's in the house. Charles, what's up? Welcome back to the show. How you been, bro?
What a glorious day, Mr. Ambassador.
It is always a glorious day. I think you're the only one who calls me that. It sounds kind of weird, to be honest with you. I don't know. Let me see. I'm trying to get this third camera working real quick while I'm stalling and working at the same time. Let's see. In the unfiltered circle, it'd be great if I don't put this other camera in the wrong spot. That would be wonderful. Again, everybody that's on the show tonight, they've been on here a million times. Hacker just popped in, saw that in the corner of my eye, in my peripheral. What's up, Hacker? Good to see you, buddy. Glad you're here. Josh Farnsey, I did not see that in my peripheral. And I think that's about it for now. Yep, looks like it. All right, in the unfiltered circle tonight, folks, in the second spot, he is one of the many safeties we have in Lone Star. Another person in this league that I call a personal friend, and he is the defender of a certain wide receiver on a daily basis. This is Nate Hall. Nate, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
Doing good. How you doing, bud?
I'm hanging in there, bro. I'm good to be here. I'm glad to be back in the saddle. I'm feeling good.
Good. Good to have you back and ready to get this show started.
Thank you, bro. And I'm always feeling better when the Dodgers are winning, of course.
Oh, of course.
All right, in the unedited circle for tonight, again, somebody everybody knows. He's a household name in this league. He has been almost since day one. He is the host of Coach's Corner. He is one of the Bash brothers, Louisiana linebacker, and another friend of mine. Coach Craven's in the house. Coach, let's see if your camera's working. Oh, I got you muted. I got you censored. But there you are. What's up, Coach? How you doing, buddy? Welcome back.
It's one of those technical difficulties.
Yeah, that's okay. We were having some as well, bro. I forgot to censor people. I was having a fan issue, and upstairs. If you've been to my house, Nate Hall will attest. The upstairs gets pretty hot, so I got to have fans. And of course, a half an hour before the show, the fan stops working. And you know what? I can't have a show without fans.
Look like you're wearing a sweatshirt there, dude. That would help with the heat.
Well, because I always wear the long sleeves. That's why I always have I have a portable AC on here. I got fans. I keep it nice and cool, so I can always wear sleeves. Yeah, of course.
I forgot about that.
You know it's all about the sleeves, baby. You know. All right, in the unforgettable circle tonight, back in his regular spot. I think if anybody has a spot, except for maybe Frank, the franchise Wade in the first spot, this is probably the second spot that everybody knows of. It is the host of NETMA. It is Mr. Tyler Falk. Tyler, how you doing, bro? Welcome back to the show. Good to see you. And what is on your head?
If I can maybe unmute myself.
I was like, you're muted, bro.
It's not a flat cap.
It's not a flat bill, but it's not a. You're throwing me off. Is that in tribute to baseball season? What's going on?
Well, that too. But I mean, I'm back on your show for the first time, and first time being back on your show, I figured, you know what? Let's ditch the flat cap tonight. Let's bring back the baseball cap for one night only.
Let's mix it up. I love it. All right. Well, you know what? We mix it up here a little bit too. So, Tyler, welcome back to the show. Glad to have you, buddy.
Good to be back. Thanks for having me on.
All right, folks. Looks like we had a level 2 hype train. I get to have a level 2 hype train emote to share. I'm getting ready to do that right now as we speak. And it's a nice little Labrador. What do you know? You got to love the doggies. Gotta love it. Let me see if anybody else jumped in here while we were introducing our panelists. I see Swole. I see Siege Falco. The ATL is definitely in the house tonight. Mark Mello jumped in. Good to see you, bro. And I think that's about it. Once again, if I miss you in the shout-outs, at me and I'll hit you up. All right, everybody. We all know we had a crazy wild card weekend of games in the SFL this past weekend. You never know what to expect, right, in this league. Anybody can beat anybody on any given Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Thursday, Monday, whatever night we end up playing. But But I think this weekend's wild card games were a little different than past seasons, and we'll talk about that later on. Just to recap and refresh your memory a little bit, and Gunny, feel free to shout out an updated Dodger score at any moment because I wasn't able to throw it on the screen over here. On Saturday, Vegas traveled to Queen City. London traveled to Arizona. On Sunday, LA traveled to Charleston. Excuse me. And Sunday evening, St. Louis traveled to Vancouver, which I personally think was the best game of the weekend. The results, as most of us know, Las Vegas, the 11th seed, upset Queen City on the road. Arizona just had their way with London. LA had a 10-9 lead over Charleston, ended up giving up 20 straight unanswered points. And then the back-and-forth game of Vancouver, St. Louis was, like I said, the most exciting game of the weekend. So let's jump right into those, fellas. Charles, you've got the first game. The 11 seed Vegas with the major upset of the weekend. I mean, this is a team we didn't even think was going to make the playoffs. They had to have a lot of scenarios go their way just to get in, and their reward was to go to one of the hottest teams in the league the first half of the season, and they go in there and they take care of business. Tell us about that.
Yeah, definitely. First of all, I want to give props to the Queen City staff, Eric Barkley, owner, head coach Chris Komisak, and the rest of the staff, BJ Lovelace, Jay Hayden, Hubba Kimbrell, and Tom Riddell. They had a great first half of the season coming in at 6-0. Not so much the second half, going 2-4 like you mentioned. Las Vegas Fury on the other side, they started out slow. They were 2-4, and then went to a 4-2 record the second half of the season. You got to give props to John Bond and Tony Benefield, the head coach, both owners, and head coach John and defensive coordinator Tony, offensive coordinator Michael. I mean, they came in on the road and put on one of the best, outside of Arizona, I'd say one of the best defensive performances this weekend. They shut down Queen City. I mean, they held a high-caliber quarterback and a high-caliber running back to under 300 yards passing and under 100 yards rushing. And that's a huge thing, especially in the playoffs and especially on the road. I mean, that first quarter, I didn't know what to expect. I mean, it was a back and forth. It was an interception festival, back and forth. The Tom Krieg with the tips it to Merrick Itera for the 70-yard touchdown. And I think that's when Las Vegas really started getting energized. And the one thing that really impressed me, outside of the defense, which just played, I would say, near spotless, the young quarterback, Joseph Green, I mean, he stood in there. He got hit a couple times. 275 yards, it's not breaking any records, but he was consistent. Every time they needed to get, one of the things that jumped out at me is every time they went into a four wide set or a 5-wide set, it's like they were 100% at completions. I mean, he was throwing it in small bread boxes, deep down the field, getting touchdowns, moving the chains. I mean, it was incredible. Jet averaged about 126 yards a game for Queen City and almost a touchdown and a half a game. Vegas, like I said at the beginning, they kept them under 100 and they kept them to one touchdown. We already talked about what they did with the quarterback, keeping him under 300. And also, the average for Queen City was about 29 points a game. They shaved off almost 10 points to 20 points. And, I think overall, Las Vegas on both sides of the ball played really, really well. The quarterback on Vegas stood out, Joseph Green. On the defense, I think about everybody on the defense. They were all doing what they needed to do to win the game. But the thing that sticks out to me, and I think if I was scheming against them next week, is how you're going to stop them when they're in 5 and 4 wide set. I mean, because if you go back and look at the film, they were incredibly effective when they had that many receivers on the field, which is kind of rare. I mean, it's just overall impressive by Las Vegas. I didn't expect them to win. I picked Queen City on the road. I thought they had too much going up against them, and they really opened up some eyes. And I think next to Arizona, I think they're probably the most dangerous team in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, lower seeds, like it's kind of like the NCAA tournament, right? Those lower seeds, like kind of like a 12 always beats a 5. There's always a higher seed that advances, and they go on a run, right?
Right.
I could see, and it sounds like you agree. I could see this Las Vegas team going on a run right now at the right time.
Definitely. I mean, it's one of the when we get to the question and answer period, I've definitely got some questions around that because it looked like Las Vegas around mid-season found the secret sauce, and I'd be curious to hear what they did to discover that.
Well,
and if they could bottle it and sell it to some other teams in the XFL.
There you go. Maybe some of us non-playoff teams. That would be great. Yeah. Anyway, Vegas at Queen City. The final scores you can see on the screen: 34-20. They beat them by 2 touchdowns. The over/under for that game was 48.5, so it was pretty close, within a touchdown. Queen City was favored by 6.5. They did not cover. And in the who you got, it was overwhelmingly Queen City 136-50. So a lot of people got this one wrong. But what I'm about to get right is the man we're about to talk to right now, wide receiver and punt kicker, or punt and kick return specialist extraordinaire, Mr. Doug Britton is in the house with us tonight. Doug Britton, welcome to the show. How you doing, bro?
Doing well, Dave. Great to be here.
It's great to have you. Glad you can make time for us real quick. One of the things I want to ask you is, how did you – I mean, going into Week 11, you guys had pretty slim chances to make the playoffs. Going into Week 12, I think it might have even been slimmer. The amount of scenarios that had to happen for you guys to get into the playoffs was crazy. It was for us, too, and a couple other teams. But you guys were the beneficiary of that, which is great, and you guys are showing that you deserve to be there. But was there at any time in your locker room, was there any maybe kind of doubt? Were you guys kind of down going into those last couple weeks? What was the mindset in your locker room going into weeks 11 and 12?
Of course, coming off of the Vice Wars, that was very much a disappointing loss, considering we had beat them a couple weeks earlier. We really wanted that one to be able to have a shot at the division going into Week 12 in Arizona, but with that loss, we locked the Arizona up to win the West. But yeah, having LSG and Arizona left was going to be a daunting task, and had to win both and had to have other things fall in place.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, especially that Lone Star game. Charles, what do you have for Mr. Doug Britton here tonight?
So, Doug, congratulations on the big win. But my question for you was around the mid-season mark when y'all were 2-4. Was there anything going on? Any meetings with the coaching staff to kind of do some realignment? I mean, anything happened that of note to share with us that got you on that 4-2 streak?
No, it's basically the same thing that happened last year. We were 2-4 at the 6-game mark last year and made the playoffs and won a playoff game, and we just knew that we could do it. Just had to buckle down, get the scouting done right. Me and Scott do the scouting there, so just need to buckle down, get that done, get the sims right, and it paid off going the rest of the year.
Did your sims show the same results as it did on the field?
They never do, but
I'm looking for a reaction
Shocker.
from Coach on that one.
Shocker. Hey, Doug, last question before we let you go. This week now, you guys played great down the stretch. You're rewarded with a playoff berth. You beat a really good Queen City team in Queen City, and you know what your reward for that is? You get to play the number 1 seed that hasn't lost a game all season. How's the team feeling about traveling to Baltimore, and what do you think about your chances this weekend?
well, considering we lost 34-0 in the rain last time, we're hoping to improve on that, definitely.
That would be great. By the way, I'm sorry, Doug. I just got in the chat. Dodgers win, Dodgers win, Dodgers win. Just thought I'd mix that in there. I'm feeling very happy about that, Doug, as I'm sure you're feeling very happy about being in the playoffs. So thanks for being on the show for the very first time, I might add. You were up for the Axie for Party People of the Year. And so you're always in the chat. You've supported the show really well, and I'm glad that we finally got you on here.
Thanks for having me. Y'all have a great rest of the show.
You too, Doug. Thanks again, buddy. All right, folks. There's your Las Vegas at Queen City recap. Moving on to the game number 2 this past weekend. Nate, I got to tell you, this was the surprise game for me. I love the hype. The London, Arizona hype was great. You know, they were talking back and forth a little bit. Things were looking really good. It looked like it was going to be this really fun game. And then Arizona just comes out and smacks them in the mouth. So tell us about that game.
Yeah, so like you said, everybody in this league, this was like, for everybody in this league, it was the game of the week for sure. It had everything that everybody wanted to see. Benji Madsen and Chad as coaches going up against Eddie Gage. The quarterbacks going up against each other. You got J2 Johnny Pickler and Ashley Jackson, two of the biggest names in the SFL this season, going up against each other. So by all means, everybody was looking forward to this game for sure. But what everybody didn't expect was for Johnny Pickler to have such a rough start to this game. They had a couple of drives in the first quarter where they moved it either to midfield or just inside enemy territory, but he was just throwing pick after pick. Just couldn't seem to shake that pick bug. And I think it was 3 in the first quarter, and he had 4 by halftime. And off those 4 turnovers, Arizona was doing their job. AJ was doing her thing, moving the ball downfield. DJ Moses, he was doing his thing on the ground. And they were getting scores off those turnovers. And that's how Arizona got the big lead that they did. And then so you would think that at halftime, the coaches for London might have said something to get this team sparked, but they just came out looking just the same way they did in the first half. Pickler had all 6 of his interceptions by the end of the third quarter, and by the end of the third quarter, Arizona had a 44-0 lead. It was just crazy.
It was crazy.
Yes. But if anybody would have tuned into the game at the 8-minute mark of the fourth quarter on, you would have thought that London...
Dude, Nate, I'm sorry. I've been trying not to interrupt you. What the hell is Tyler doing? Did he spill all over his computer or something? Do you see he's got the bounty out? He's got his butt in the camera.
That's beer number 2 I've spilled on the show already. God damn it.
I was like, I am so distracted right now. I can't even hear what Nate is saying.
Blame it on Buck. Blame it on Buck right now because I saw him sitting up there.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Will kill me if I blame it on Buck.
Exactly, right? Nate, I'm sorry, buddy.
True.
Go ahead and continue. My bad.
Yeah, but at the 8-minute mark of the fourth quarter, if you would have just started tuning in at that point on to the end of the game, you would have thought that London was a team that had scored the 44 points because all of a sudden something clicked for Johnny. He couldn't miss. Got a couple of scores to Saren Storm. Got one to Benji Madsen finally late in the game. And even a passing touch, even though Robert Merrill couldn't do anything on the ground, Robert Merrill gets a receiving touchdown late in that game as well. And all mixed in there was 2 onside kick recoveries to help them get the ball back and let them score that many points with only 6 or 7 minutes left in the game. But by that point, it was too little too late. I just really quickly want to read off some of these stat lines.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was AJ finished out 42 of 53, 412 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. But on the other side, we already talked about it, how John Pickler struggled. He went 34 of 58, only 58% completions, 409 passing, 4 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. And we talked about how DJ was the better running back in this game. Arizona had it really together. They had the 1-2 punch going, and DJ finished with 3 touchdowns himself. So just a good game altogether by that Arizona coaching staff.
Okay. I feel bad for London, Arizona right now, but here's the thing. I think you hit the nail on the head, right? Too little, too late. Benji Madsen with maybe the funniest quote of the night so far. He said, hey, you never know what's going to happen. Sometimes the ball doesn't bounce your way, and other days it doesn't bounce our way, right? So It's and that was just one of those games. I don't think anybody expected that kind of blowout. But I mean, let's give all the kudos to to Eddie in Arizona for putting it to him for sure. This game, the over/under was only 51.5. They blew that out of the water. Obviously, it was 75 points. Arizona was favored by 6. I'm pretty sure they covered. I actually didn't pull the who you got up on this one, but I could do it right now. And the who you got, people picked Arizona, the party people, 62 to 127. So that makes the SFL Nation 1-1 on wild card weekend. We have one of those Arizona Scorpions with us this evening to talk to. He's the tight end. He's a scout, which we learned about on his interview this past weekend. Tight end, he had 36 receptions for 555 yards and 3 touchdowns this season. Very respectable for a tight end in this league. And, of course, I'm talking about Mr. Will Todd. Will, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Hey, so first like obvious question I have to ask. Did you guys really think you were going to manhandle London like this, or were you expecting a closer game like the rest of us?
I think for most of the week leading up to the game, we were concerned that it was going to be a really close game. I think Eddie made some tweaks right before turning in the playbook that he felt really good about. But we, if we're going to be honest, we expected it to be a much tighter game than it ended up being.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with you. Nate, it's Tyler trying to make amends now, trying to butter me up with his Access Live koozie. Nate, what do you have for Will Todd this evening?
First off, Will Todd, congrats on a big game. If I could just read your stat lines really quick. 8 receptions, 87 yards, 1 touchdown. A touchdown came in the third quarter to help put your team up 38-0, and you also had a big 21-yard reception in the second quarter that helped extend the lead as well to set your team up on the 1-yard line for a first and goal that ended up being a score. So congrats on a big game to you.
Yeah, thanks, Nate.
No problem. The question I had is, we've all seen it. The last couple of seasons, Arizona's been on an upswing, hitting stride and just improving in all-around facets of the game. To what or whom do you attribute the growing success that Arizona is finding leading up both last season and into this season?
Well, I don't want to sound like a broken record where other people are always singing Eddie Gage's praises, but I mean, the truth of it is the longer that he coaches in this league, the more he learns, and the more he learns, the more dangerous he is as a coach. And he's been coaching the offense now for a couple of seasons, and he's getting much better at coaching the offense. He's already killer when it comes to coaching the defense, as I think London would attest. And I just think that the better he gets, the better Arizona is going to get. And considering how good we are now, that's pretty scary, I think.
Hall of Famer, definitely, and I think in everybody in this league's book. I do have a follow-up question leading into the next game. You guys are going up against Kendra Hall's old team, the Atlanta Swarm, this coming weekend. What do you think is going to be the biggest key to take away the victory this coming weekend when you guys face Atlanta?
Sure. Well, Atlanta's my old team too. They drafted me prior to last season.
Join the crowd, Will Todd.
Yeah, that's right. And really like all those guys. And Atlanta's playing exceptional ball this season, and they're going to be very tough to deal with. I don't think that we're going to stop either BDG or their passing game. But I think if we can slow them down enough to where we can make a few defensive stops and get our offense back on the field, much like our plan for London, once we get our offense on the field, unless we make mistakes, we're going to do some damage. And I think that's really our key is that we've got to try to make Atlanta stub their toe just enough that we can get our offense back on the field.
Absolutely. Thanks, Bud.
Hey Todd,
All right, thanks,
last question before you go, bro. Obviously, I'm sure you guys did not underestimate London, regardless of how the game went, and I know you're not going to underestimate Atlanta. And like you just mentioned, they're playing really well right now. What are some of the things that, and like you said, Kendra's former Atlanta, you're former Atlanta, I'm former Atlanta. But what do you know about Atlanta that you think Arizona needs to be the most concerned about going into this weekend?
Well, this season in particular, they haven't been making very many mistakes, and I think if they play their best ball, and we're not able to get any turnovers in key moments to where we have a short field and can then score, I think it's going to be really tough for us to hang with them.
That's a good point. Bryant Dynasty, he's known for playing pretty well in his first playoff games, early rounds. So he's somebody else to watch out to as well. Will, thanks for coming on. I think this is your first time on the show too, isn't it?
It is, sir. Yeah.
This is great. A lot of first timers tonight. Appreciate it. Congrats on the London win. Good luck against Atlanta this weekend, and thanks for being on the show.
All right. Well, thanks for having me, Dave.
You got it, bro. Thanks again. All right. I guess Charles is. Charles had to go steal. I guess so. That's what happened. So I guess Charles spilled Tyler's beer. So while Tyler was busy, Charles went and stole his cap. Now it all comes together finally. What do you know? We got the bookends. Oh my gosh, Becky, this is getting out of hand already. Hey, Gunny, are you around? I need some saving here, bro.
I'm good. I was looking at the hats.
Oh yeah, I was busy looking at the hats. Hey, Dodgers 6-5. Is that what I saw in the chat? Final.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
awesome.
Y'all closed it out in the big hit in the bottom of the 8th inning, 3-run homer.
Beautiful. So they went
and then that big hit. Yeah.
Look at Coach. So let's see. They win tomorrow, and then we'll be back here Thursday night to talk about them being up 3-2. That's amazing. I love that. But let's not talk about that anymore, Gunny. Let's talk about your pearls of wisdom. I've got your music going. Ray's got your lyrics going. The floor is yours.
Well, I mean, I've already told you I was going to be worried if it ever got 3-1 series. You and I have been talking all week.
Well, it's a lot like last season.
Exactly. Well, good evening, everyone in the SFL Nation playoffs, quarterfinals, season 17. I'd like to thank all the panelists on board today. Many are fairly new to the panelists. We got Andy Hamilton, Coach Craven, Jack Brown, Nate Hall, Tyler Falk, Doug Britton was on board. Also, Will Todd. Great to have these gentlemen on the Access Live show. I'm going to go back a little bit. Does everybody remember who was in the season 15? This was only a year ago, the season 15 quarterfinal playoffs. There were only five teams out of the 11 or 12 that have returned to the playoffs in season 17. Baltimore, the number 1 seed this year, was the number 4 seed back then. Mexico City was the number 4 seed then. Or they were the 5th seed then. Now they're the 4th seed. Vancouver was the 7th seed. Now they're the 5th seed. Florida was an 8th seed. Now they're the 2nd seed. Atlanta was number 10. Now they're number 3. So congratulations to all these 5 teams for making the playoffs. We do have 6 new teams. Actually, 7 new teams that were in the playoffs this year that were not in the playoffs 2 years ago. Queen City, Arizona, Charleston, Los Angeles Lycans, London, Las Vegas, and St. Louis all made the playoffs. Back in season 15, we only had 11 teams that made the playoffs. And then starting in season 16, we went up to 12. So I congratulate all these teams that have made the playoffs. It's fun to sit on the couch and watch the games. I'm not on the field, but I'm rooting for everybody. And good luck to everybody this weekend in the Final 8. Good luck, and I will see you soon. That is all, Dave.
All right, Gunny. Thanks so much, buddy. Appreciate you. Appreciate Ray putting the lyrics up, the whole 9 yards. This is one of my favorite parts about this show. The party people and Gunny. I don't even know why I'm here. That should just be the whole show. All right, let's move on to the third game from this past weekend. The Lycans, roller coaster team, for 2 seasons in a row, Coach. traveling to Charleston under new ownership. And, I think was it 2 seasons ago when Charleston just busted out the gates and then they slowed down? I don't remember if they made the playoffs or not. There's been a couple seasons where we thought that they were going to be the team we thought they were, and they weren't. But I think this season is finally that season, and they proved it in this first-round game. Tell us about their game against L.A.
It's funny because I think you're kind of right on there. Sorry, I'm still a little bit traumatized from looking over. My TV is behind the screen. I looked over and saw Tyler's head moving up and down really quickly, and
that's why I had to throw the sensor thing up, bro.
yeah. I'm just like, I want to gouge my eyes out, But anyway, well, moving on. Unedited. It's funny. I don't know if you know this, Dave, but when back in my high school coaching days, in the off season, I would announce and run the scoreboard for the basketball and games and wrestling matches. This game, I bring that up because this game started out like a heavyweight high school wrestling match where they just kind of leaned on each other and nothing really happened, and there was cheering going on, and once in a while one of them would sort of trip and score a point by accident, and it was kind of at first. And then suddenly one of the chubby guys tripped and was on his back, and he wondered what was going on. And I kind of think that moment, there were 2 days in the third quarter that I thought sort of encapsulated this. You had early in the third quarter, you had the 4th down attempt that Charleston stuffed. Which, I mean, at that point, LA was 0 for 8 on 3rd down. And they went for it on 4th, got stuffed, had a short field, and that allowed Charleston to go down, score the field goal, and go ahead. And then next drive, went back and forth, went back to what we had been seeing. And then late in the third quarter, you had a 3rd down, about the same area of the field that the 4th down had been. And the receiver got bumped a little bit, and the throw just kind of sailed over him. It just And from that point, the ensuing Charleston drive, it looked like LA was going to get out of that okay, and then they jumped off sides on 4th down and gave them a 1st down, and the taps were open, the gas was on, and the fire was lit. And from there on, it just went bad, and we saw Charleston. I see your comment. Saw Charleston start running away with it. And first you feel like, all right, well, that's kind of a big deal. But when you look at the stats at the end of the game, you kind of see something. There's something that jumps out. Yardage was about where you'd think with the total yardage, about where you'd think with the score. 231 for LA, 314 for Charleston. Yeah, okay. Turnovers, 6-2, but it's important to remember that I think 2 or 3 of those turnovers came late when LA was trying to throw and catch up. Really going to hold that against them in that circumstance. But the eye-popping stat to me, time of possession, 28:04 for Charleston, 15:31 LA. I think when you look at that and you look at this game, it was the 300, and Charleston was the Persians. Eventually, the weight of the Persian army was just going to weigh them down. A little history reference for you there. And that's what happened. And when they finally broke, they just couldn't up.
Yeah, I agree with you about that 4th down play. Don't you love that? Isn't that one of your favorite plays where they come out and just to try to get them to jump off sides, and they do jump off sides? Yeah,
that's why I've got short hair now. Because my hair
Charles stole my thunder. I was going to say, what happened to the gray Fabio, the silver Fabio, whatever we used to call you? What happened?
Well, hey, it's Oklahoma. It's freaking hot here, man. I need to cool off a little bit.
I don't understand what's going on with everybody's head. I mean, Tyler shows up with the wrong hat. You show up with the wrong haircut. Charles is now wearing Tyler's hat. What the hell is going on here tonight? I don't even know. I don't even know. Here's the deal. 39 points scored in this game. Over-under was 45.5 within the touchdown range. Charleston was favored by 3.5. They definitely covered. Here's an interesting thing, though. SFL Nation took LA 114-75. LA on the road, and that drops SFL Nation to 1-2 on the wild card weekend. Speaking of Charleston, speaking of the new ownership over there, we have Jack Brown on the line with us. He's one of the co-owners, along with Mello Taylor, of Charleston, and this is their first season as co-owners. So, Jack Brown, welcome back to the show. How you been, man?
I've been doing great, and now I also like the implication that I am King Xerxes. So, like, I'll take that.
There you go. And this is not your first time on the show, so I will not say welcome for the first time. You've been here several times before. First, and I think most obvious question: how does it feel? And I know that these are kind of the dumbest questions, right? You go to the sideline and somebody just won the national championship, and the sideline reporter says, "How do you feel?" I mean, what do you say? I feel like shit. I just won the national championship. Of course, you feel great. But how does it feel, honestly? You've been in this league a long time. You know what these owners go through in the offseason. You know what these owners go through to game plan and run organizations. And then, bam, you and Mello do it in your very first season, get to the playoffs, and not only get to the playoffs, but win in the wild card.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. Like, considering how relatively last minute a lot of, like, the turnover happened for, like, the ownership change, and obviously us hiring Jake McClair and all that, obviously we kept a lot of the same team from last year, but, like, just having to so quickly change gears and, like, change things up like that to obviously then go out and win our first playoff game since the team relocated to Charleston is great. This is also the first time I have been on a team that's won a playoff game since season 11, oddly enough. Yeah.
Wow. Well, so are you saying it feels like shit, or are you saying it feels great? Because that's really the important part we want to get to.
Yeah, it feels wonderful, man. The team's so great. I couldn't have done it without my brothers and sisters.
There you go. And sometimes it rains. I get it. All right. Coach, what do you have for Jack?
Well, I was going to ask Jack, other than the change in ownership, so you don't get to take credit. Sorry, no, I'm kidding. What do you think's the biggest factor in you guys getting over the hump this season and the success you've had?
Oh, gosh. Okay, so the biggest factor, I mean, really, I think it's just the fact that we've had a lot of, like, well, I think the main thing was actually bringing in Jake McClair. So I know it's technically talking about the front office changes still, but he's been handling a lot of the offensive play calling this year, and as you saw, sure, there were a lot of times where the offense kind of stagnated, where we'd just be stuck at scoring like 15, 20 points a game, for lucky. But just getting that new sort of like freshness and getting a lot of these things kind of coming through, what we were running for the longest time, that signature like 2 tight end set, it worked for us for a while, but once the uniqueness and the novelty wears off, then you just kind of get stuck in a rut, and you're just kind of hoping that your matchups are good. However, this past season, now that we're a lot more flexible, we can go into like new ideas and new sets. It really is just kind of like a great new kind of breath of fresh air for the team.
Hey,
that makes sense.
Jack, let me ask you this last question before we let you go.
Okay.
It's a lot. My question's a lot like the one I asked Doug Britton about Vegas. You guys, like Coach mentioned, you guys you got over the hump. You got into playoffs. You get that first playoff victory under your belt, your first home playoff game ever, if I'm not mistaken. And, you get to play one of the best teams in the league as a reward, and a team returning from the championship game last season. How do you prepare, without giving away secrets, obviously, but how do you prepare for a team like Florida after coming off a wild card win?
Well, I'll say this much. I'd much rather play Florida than play Baltimore, because we played them earlier this year, and we know kind of how to play Florida. We learned kind of like how to go toe-to-toe with them. And sure, we ended up losing that game just because we got gassed at the end and we just couldn't keep up. But the fact that we were able to stay toe-to-toe with them is honestly all that we could have asked for. So really for us, just sticking with what we've been doing,
right,
and like sticking with the fundamentals, is really about all you can ask for.
Well, that's great to hear. I'm actually anxious to see what Jack's data comes up with. We'll talk about that on Thursday night for the spread for your game. That'll be interesting since you guys already played once a season. They'll have a little more data on that. Jack, thanks for popping in once again. Welcome back to the show. Congrats on the victory against Los Angeles, and good luck against Florida.
All right, thank you.
You got it. And, of course, Charles is changing hats. Of course, Nate was feeling left out. Nate had to have a hat. We didn't talk about his head, I guess. And now Charles has to go back. And were you doing some gardening? Did you run out to go do some gardening real quick, Charles, or what?
No, I was checking on the surf. Make sure it was safe, no riptides.
Oh, there you go. Are you safe inland Texas? You're pretty safe there from the riptides?
Pretty safe.
Okay.
Pretty safe.
Glad to hear that. All right, let's move on to the last game from this wild card weekend, which I believe was the best game of the weekend. I kind of thought it would be anyway, but it definitely delivered. St. Louis came out strong, Tyler. And then I think near the end, I think Vancouver just kind of imposed their will. St. Louis still having some chances down the stretch, but Vancouver was able to squeak out the 7-point victory. Tell us about this.
Yeah, I mean, the whole weekend was fantastic, right? You had the shock factor in game one. You had the complete defensive performance by Arizona. In game number 3, you saw the 20-point to 0 run from Charleston at the end. And to be frank, for LA, unfortunately for them, that's how their offense works. Is either feast or famine for that offense, and we saw how that game played out. And then we saw a complete game basically between St. Louis and Vancouver, rematch for a few weeks ago, where Vancouver was taken back by how they were beaten by St. Louis, and it looked like from the get-go, Dave, that St. Louis was just gonna go ahead and run away with it again, because they came out 14-0 going into this midway through the second quarter. Like, St. Louis looked strong. They looked like the electrifying offense that had been being talked about all season long.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, Vancouver started to pick up the pace. Their defense picked off Christian Brown 5 times, and that's a really common theme this postseason so far here, Dave, is the turnovers. We saw 6 turnovers here in St. Louis, Vancouver. We saw 7 in both Charleston, LA, and Arizona and London. So turnovers are really being the big key. If you're giving the ball away at least 5 times, you're probably going to lose the football game because of how composed and confident opposing teams are. And we saw that with Charleston, Arizona, and now Vancouver. Time of possession was another big step because they were taking the ball away so many times for St. Louis. They won the time of possession battle, 27 minutes and 11 seconds compared to 16 minutes and 49 seconds. They completely dominated that category. And just these little plays that we don't often see from Vancouver, little crossing routes to Kendra Hall to set up the big plays to everybody else, to Chris Curtis, to Dan Daly, who got 2 touchdowns over the course of the football game. He came out of his shoes and played really well. And, of course, you can't forget Robert Redford, over 100 yards and a rushing touchdown for Mr. The Natural as well. So a really good game for Vancouver, though I will have a question for Andy Hamilton later about the context of this football game in regards to how it will transpire to maybe this coming weekend's football matchup.
Awesome, Tyler. Thank you. I guess Coach, fresh back from the Tennessee Volunteer game against Mississippi, against Ole Miss. Was that you that threw the mustard, Coach? I don't think Coach is listening to me. I don't know if he can hear me.
I'm just trying to get the unmuted.
Oh, trying to get unmuted, bro?
I've been told to say the following: I can neither confirm nor deny that I threw mustard.
Perfect.
Coach makes me feel good because he's the only person on earth with a larger grape than me.
There you go. Coach. Somebody said you threw the golf ball and the mustard. Damn. I guess he's got the proof right there in the hat. This game, Tyler, over under 54.5. They put 69 points on, which I'm sure Harish would appreciate. Vancouver favored by 7.5. I mean, you can't get any closer than that with Jack's data. And overwhelmingly, 125-52, SFL Nation took Vancouver at home against St. Louis. Speaking of Vancouver, we have the longtime owner and broadcaster in the SFL, Mr. Andy Hamilton, with us tonight. Andy, welcome to the show. How you been, bro?
Hey, I'm good, Dave. Thank you so much for having me. Really glad to be here.
Of course, bro. I think you've been on once or twice before as well. I remember once a long time ago, for sure. How many times have you been on the show? Just once?
Honestly, no clue, no idea. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't bring a funky hat either,
I
so
was
I'm
just
the
that
only
was
one who's
damn it. That goes
rocking the no hat.
There goes my question. I was going to ask if you were wearing a hat tonight. Damn it. Well, you know what? Since I can't ask that question, let me ask you this. I actually did a little research on you guys today because I wanted to ask you, and I guess kind of bear with me here for a moment while I explain what my point is. To me, this season, Vancouver doesn't seem as high-powered offense as last season. And I know that sounds funny because I've seen the numbers today. But last season, I just thought you were so dominating. So I started looking up all the stats last year versus this year. And the most surprising thing to me was that you finished 8-4 both, or I'm sorry, yeah, 8-4 both years, both seasons, got the number 6 seed both seasons. Yet to me, in my mind, you seemed so much more dominant last season. Let me throw a few of these stats at you. The points per game, you actually went up about 1.5 this season, and you're second in the league as opposed to third in the league last season. Passing yards per game, you're up about another 30 yards, holding the number 1 spot. Total yards per game, you're number 1, and you're right about the same, about 3 yards more per game. A lot more passing touchdowns. But here's where I think my question's answered, and then I will ask you the question. Rushing yards per game down significantly, about 23. I guess, what is that? 20 something per game, and rushing touchdowns down 7 over the season. What is the reason for that? Number one, is it just did you decide to go more passing? Are you going more 4 and 5 wides? I mean, we already know Vancouver slings the ball like crazy. Or was Robert Redford put in some different situations where he couldn't quite excel like he did? And I'm not saying he had a bad season. I'm just saying it wasn't as good as last season. Kind of take us through the change from your team last season to this season offensively. That's kind of where I'm getting at.
Yeah, good question. I think both years were very dangerous in terms of offense. I would agree on paper at least our team has certainly looked a little bit different on offense, and there's a couple reasons for that. I would say first and foremost, we never start the year with the same playbook that we ended the year before with. So there are some teams that probably do that, but we start from scratch. We're trying to find the best plays for the players in our system. And so, we had some adjustments this year. Chris Curtis comes over. He's obviously a very different player, so we have to kind of adjust our offense for that number 3 slot. And then it also comes down to what opponents we're playing, right? We play different teams every year. Teams get better, teams get worse, teams switch their philosophy. For example, St. Louis has some good linebackers on their team. Portland has some good linebackers. San Diego's linebackers got much better this year. So some of these teams, have kind of switched up their philosophy. And in terms of the rush yards, our team and our coaching staff is very one-track minded, and that is just simply to win the football game. And we like players who are of the same mindset. Whatever it takes to kind of win that football game is what we're going to do. And our players are 100% behind that because the win is the most important kind of stat of all. And so for us, we really kind of pushed ourselves this year to, work with new plays, new stuff, but also do so the right way and try and, win as many games as possible. Sometimes if you're playing a team with 3 linebackers who are all really good at tackling, running the football, is not going to be your best mode of success. So, it's not to say that Robert Redford is any worse of a running back. He certainly is not. And as you saw this weekend, he's certainly ready to go when he's called upon to kind of advance the football and get us in positions to win. It's just a question of when and how we use him and when it will be successful for us.
Before I throw you over to Tyler for a second, let me ask a follow-up to that. Are you more surprised that you went 8-4 and were the 6th seed last season, or more surprised this season with the 2 teams you had?
Great question. I don't remember necessarily being surprised last year. I think every year, I kind of have aspirations for the team to do, incredible things. I think both this year and last year, we know we're kind of in this window where our players are, progressing to the point where they want to be competing for championships, and we want to put them in position to compete for championships. I think this year there were certainly games that, as a coach, you'd like to have back. And, I think any team in the league would probably say that about one or two games they had that were close across the season. So, look, at the end of the day, I'm super, just blessed and honored to have made the dance at the end of it. You could put me in there as a 12 seed. You could put me as the 1, and anywhere in between. I could care less as long as I get a seat at the table.
Gotcha. Tyler, real quick, how is it that Bo Martin shows up in the chat and then Coach goes in the Matrix? That's one scary dude right there. Tyler, what do you have for Andy tonight?
It's a 1-to-1 ratio. You get one Bo Martin Jr., you get one person going to the Matrix.
That's just how it goes.
That's just the rule of Access
It
Live,
is the rule.
Andy, first off, congratulations on a fantastic comeback victory. Maybe don't call it a comeback victory, but as you said, and as a couple of the people in the SFL said, the W is the most important stat in that column. So, but I have to say, and I have to ask, if you're put in that same situation in a chance to try and make a come from behind win against a better quality opponent like Mexico City, are you worried that you might not have enough to pull off another comeback victory?
I think, there's never a time that as a coach you want to have a comeback victory. I want to win every game 50-0. It usually doesn't happen that way. I think our players, are confident in the system that we have, right? There's never there rarely is a perfect team. Obviously, there's always going to be something that a team wants to improve on. And our coaching staff, James Walters, Michael Percoco, they work really hard to kind of identify our weaknesses and figure out ways to, help us win the game. For me, either coming back or if we're ahead by 30, as long as it's a win at the end, one of which, definitely makes my heart hurt a little bit more as I stress and I'm anxious about how the game's going to turn out. But at the end of the day, I think we're going to come out and play our football, whether that has to start in the third quarter because we're down by 14 or whether that starts from opening kickoff because we're ready to go is kind of, to be seen. For me, it's more like, hey, let's get the job done. And there. So in terms of juice,
hey, Andy, we're starting to lose you a little bit. You're getting kind of garbled.
I'm getting garbled?
Yeah, like are you
hear
on
me
a
now?
Are you on a cell phone? Yeah, much better.
Oh, sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, I was just saying, in terms of ready to go, I think, we trust our playbook. We trust our coaches to kind of put ourselves in the best position to win the games. Whatever we got to do to make that happen, whether we're down by 14 at the start of the third quarter or whether we're up by 50 at the start of the third, our team and our players kind of trust in, that we're going to put them in the best position to win the game. And the games that we don't win, look, sometimes the ball doesn't bounce your way, right? There's always a possibility that something's going to happen that's going to bounce the opposite way that affects the game. Player being called out of bounds or something. In those situations, you just got to kind of, accept it and move forward. But in terms of Mexico City, we're getting ready for a good matchup between us and them.
Andy, last question before we let you go. What impresses you most about this Mexico City team you have to take on this weekend?
Good question. I mean, everything. Ramos Lin, he's an incredible coach, incredible person, incredible personality with this league and his team that's been around for so long. Obviously, we met them in the season 9 semifinals where he went on to win a championship, and we were, a drive away, just as they were a drive away from losing or winning that game. Really everything. I think the run game is really solid from them. Phoenix Jones and Ray Bentley, it's, you'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing of running backs. Their receiving core is really good, and their defense is really good as well. So, we don't underestimate really any part of this team or any part of Ramos's ability to kind of scout and put the right plays in the book. And with a guy like Matt Wilson, how can you not, just expect him to be ready for a game like this?
Absolutely. All right, Andy. Well, thanks for coming on again, bro. Appreciate it. Congrats on the victory against St. Louis. Good luck against Mexico City this weekend.
Thanks, guys. Everyone have a good week.
All right. See ya. All right, folks. Those are your 4 game recaps. This Thursday, we will do the previews for the quarterfinals. But before we wrap this show up, we've got probably maybe 15 more minutes. Let's take a look at the bracket real quick. As you see, courtesy of Jack's data, you've got the final scores on the left. the matchups in the middle before we get over to the semifinals on the right. Arizona, Atlanta, Charleston, Florida, Vancouver, Mexico City, and Vegas, Baltimore. Those are your final 8 teams, your Elite 8, if you will, this season. Hey, what happened to your hat there, Nate? You had a hat on. What happened to it? You put a Buckeye on your head?
I had Buckeye sitting on my.
What is a Buckeye?
This would be a nut that grows on a tree.
Okay, I will not say the obvious then. I'm going to let that go. Charles, that looks like rosé, not a Chardonnay, by the way.
Okay.
Is that what you're drinking tonight?
Sir, yes, sir.
Sir, yes, sir. I love that. All right. Mighty Joe Young said, yeah, he did. All right. Let's get to the panelists. So last Thursday night, my first show back, I had the 4 panelists give me who they thought their Diva of the Season 17 nominees were. I decided that 4 wasn't enough. So I'm going to have these 4 guys tonight do it. I'm going to have the 4 guys on Thursday do it. So we'll have 12 nominees. Feel a little better. I've asked these guys to not include the playoff game if their nominee was in a playoff game. I wanted this to be a regular season award. So Diva of the Season, Diva of Season 17, nominees. Charles, who is your Diva of Season 17 nominee?
My Diva is my running back for Lone Star, Mike McBride. I don't think she gets enough credit in the SFL, and I think she's a diva. I mean, she goes out there and she knocks heads anybody gets in her way, and she runs them down. So she's pretty consistent, and she's my diva.
Okay. Nate Hall, who is your Diva of Season 17 nominee?
As I get in position to put my hat back on. I told you I wasn't going to do it, but
my gosh, Becky, are you kidding me?
I am not kidding you.
Dude.
Listen, you cannot mention Diva without mentioning this woman in the league. Okay? That's all I'm going to say.
So you're nominating Ashley Jackson? I'm not sure where you're going with this.
Come on. All right. So, yeah.
Ashley Rose fan?
All day. No, Kendra Hall all day.
Somebody don't want to sleep on the couch anymore.
Exactly.
She's just been she's been good for Vancouver in both seasons that she's played over there, but this season she's just been more clutch, I think, in bigger plays when it mattered the most late in games this season than she did last season. And just on top of that, beyond being clutch, she's just 7th in the league in receiving yards for 1,222 and second all by herself in touchdowns with 13.
Okay. All right.
Drop Mike.
There you go. So Ike McBride, Kendra Hall. Coach, do I dare ask who your Diva Season 17 nominee is at this point?
Know what you're getting at there, Dave?
No, I kind of see a run going on here. That's all I'm saying.
No. I'm going to switch it up a little bit.
All right, there you go.
My Diva for Season 17, for their first playoff appearance, nominate Liam Crowder.
Oh, that's a good one, actually. Liam finally making the playoffs. London having a pretty strong season overall. That's a good one, actually. Tyler, who is your Diva of Season 17 nominee?
Dave, I was almost shocked and surprised it hadn't been mentioned on a previous show. That way, when I was asked who was my Diva of the Season was going to be on Netma last week, I thought, it has to be one person, right? It has to be the guy who was late to his own acceptance speech because he was buying drinks for everybody. It has to be the guy who got kicked out of a wedding that he wandered into half buzzed. It had to be the guy who took a shot while doing his acceptance speech with Ross.
He wasn't half buzzed.
Are you?
He was
he wasn't half buzzed.
He was all the way there.
Oh God, by that point. But seriously, how is Tiberius Bovine, Mr. Irvine, Cam's dad, not Diva of the Season for his antics during the convention in Houston in Week 3?
Okay, so we now have 8 nominees for Diva of Season 17. We will get 4 more on this Thursday. Let me tell you, we have so far last Thursday, Jet Zero, MSG, James Richardson, and the Baltimore Offense were nominated. Tonight, Ike McBride, Kendra Hall, Liam Crowder, and Bovine himself. I just can't believe that. Nominated tonight. So we have 4 more. If you, I don't even know who the panelists are. I hope I don't have any duplicates. If not, I might have to throw somebody in myself. Maybe we'll see. I'd like to get 12 nominees if I can. All right. So we got 8 of the 12. We'll talk about the other 4 or the last 4 this Thursday night. Oh, we're not going to go to Access After Dark yet. You know what I was going to do? We're a little ahead of schedule. I wasn't sure if I was going to do this. We're going to definitely do this on Thursday night with the panelists on Thursday, but I'm going to find this right here. Where is it? Ooh, where'd the bracket go? I want you guys to do pick'ems. I figure, you know what, more than 4 people should do pick'ems, and these won't take very long. There's only 4 games to choose from. So, Charles, let me start with you. The first game on the screen, Arizona traveling to Atlanta. Who you got?
Wow. I've got Atlanta by 10.
Ooh, Atlanta by 10. All right. Nate Hall.
Arizona by 7.
Arizona by 7. Ooh, look at this. Everybody, I love it when they start throwing scores out there. Coach.
Ten.
All I heard was 10. Arizona by 10. Are you muted, bro?
Was.
Oh, there you go. Okay, Arizona by 10. Wow, people throwing all kinds of numbers around. Tyler, what about you?
Wow, this is an Eddie Gage coach defense versus Bryant Dynasty and an Atlanta team that is definitely not going 2-10. Has not gone 2-10 since they made that prediction. This is tough. I think it's going to be a closer game than everybody else thinks. I think this game is going to come down to a field goal. I do think Atlanta at home is going to come out with the victory by 2. I think it's going to be a really close game throughout the entire ball game.
Okay, both Atlanta and Arizona getting love in the chat. Moving on to game 2, speaking of 2, Charleston at Florida, Charles.
Oh, man, I'm going to give Florida this one, and I'm going to go 2 touchdowns.
Wow, okay. Nate Hall?
Ron Cochran and Bullet Bolesky just too tough on this Charleston defense. I'm going to go Florida by 21.
Oh, my goodness. Coach. Are you muted? I think you're muted, bro.
Why?
Wait,
no, why am I muted?
I don't know. You tell me why you're muted. I heard you.
Okay, if you just heard me say why am I muted, I'm not muted.
Well, your lips were moving and nothing was coming out.
Okay. That sounds like muted.
Okay, that kind of sounds
Am I
like
muted now?
No, you're not. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm picking Florida by I'm going to be a little bit discreet and say 13.
Okay.
But I'm picking Florida.
Gunny, by the way, I skipped you because I figure you'll be here Thursday to do yours. Tyler, Charleston at Florida.
You have one of the hottest teams coming to these playoffs in Charleston against the consistency thy name is Florida. It's a tough game. Again, this game is going to be a lot closer. We had a lot of blowouts in the wild card round. I think this week is where we see a lot of close matchups. Every game is a must-watch, but it's a must-watch game. I think Charleston will get close, but I think, again, it's another game decided by 3 points. Florida with a 3-point win.
Okay. Game 3, Vancouver at Mexico City, Charles.
I predict Vancouver is going to win this by a field goal in overtime.
Vancouver field goal overtime. Nate Hall.
I do agree with the overtime statement, but it'll be a touchdown by Kendra Hall to seal it by 6 points.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Coach. Dude, Nate, I think Nate's doing his last show. Coach, go ahead.
3 points, and Kendra Hall's going to kick the field goal.
After she gets a pick 6 to tie it. Coach, I couldn't hear you again for some reason.
I don't know what's going on
Okay.
here.
All right.
Maybe
Did
if I
Kendra get homecoming court too?
maybe if I'd kissed that much ass, I'd still be married. I don't know.
Hey-oh.
Romance is dead. Anyway, no, I'm sorry. What were we talking about? Vancouver. I'm a Vancouver
Mexico
alum.
City.
Yeah, I got to root for Vancouver if I'm not playing them, so I'm saying Vancouver by 7. Since we're all being so specific, with 18 seconds left. Ender Hall.
Dude, I swear to God, if that comes true, I'm clipping this. Tyler.
Wow. Both teams have had inconsistent streaks throughout the entire season. With Vancouver now having a split series with St. Louis and Mexico City dropping one to Houston to end out the regular season. It's a real tough one to call. Does Mexico City take that bye week enough to plan for Vancouver? Are they ready for the Legion? And are the Legion ready to play that more dominant, pressing, attacking football that we've seen from them over the course of their long history? I'm going against my co-host this time around.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a little bit more of a vaunted scoreline. I think this one is a 6 or 7 point victory for the Aztecs.
Okay. Last game. And again, these are not necessarily in order of broadcast. They're just how they are on the bracket.
Can I just say, I heard Kendra's gasp from all the way downstairs when Tyler just picked against her.
Oh, I believe it.
I'm gonna hear from her. I'm gonna hear from her loud and clear. Oh yeah, there she goes. There it is. There's bullet one.
At Tyler, serious. Charles. Last game on the screen. Vegas at Baltimore. Who you got?
I think Baltimore's going to win this by 3 scores, and Kendra Hall's going to score each one.
Nate, do I dare ask you who you even have for this one?
I'm going to go with Baltimore, but it's going to be a lopsided victory. I think Jack Waymore is going to have 5 TDs against Las Vegas' D. They're going to win by, I'm going to say 21.
Okay. Coach, we've got Vegas and Baltimore, the 11 seed traveling to the number 1 seed.
Testing.
Yeah,
Can you hear me
gotcha,
okay?
gotcha.
All right. Well, hey, I've already gone on record as saying I can't root for Baltimore, in a now infamous little thing. Hey, much respect, but Las Vegas has got some of my boys over there. They got Doug Britton. They got Slim Shady. I got to root for Vegas. I'm pulling for them. They're going to pull a massive upset, win by
4? Did you say 4? I can't hear you anymore. 4.
4.
Put your 4s up, Coach, so I can see. Okay, Las Vegas by 4. All right, you got the last game there.
Massive win by 4.
I mean,
It's an upset.
They're gonna miss an extra point, but get a safety. I don't know. Tyler, who you got this last game? Vegas at Baltimore.
If I remember correctly, I think Las Vegas and Baltimore already played earlier. I'm gonna hear from Kendra Hall on Friday. Y'all better.
They did,
turn
and by the way, Baltimore beat Vegas 34-0. Doug Britton said earlier in the show, 34-0.
Yeah, it's again, weather might have affected that, so maybe something changes with the better weather conditions.
Weather gives you 34 points.
Anywho, again, Las Vegas are one of the more stingiest teams in the league at the moment. Have had a lot of good wins, especially to get into the playoffs, and now with a nice win over Queen City. I don't think they're going to go 2 for 2. I don't think they're going to knock off 2 teams who were unbeaten going into week 6. I think I'm the only one not taking any upsets this time around. I think Baltimore will take home the victory. I think it'll be another sound victory. I'm thinking this will probably be the most lopsided game, probably by 14 points.
Okay. Yeah, so pretty much everybody. So Baltimore 3 out of 4, Vancouver 3 out of 4, Florida 4 out of 4, Arizona and Atlanta split. We'll get 4 more points of view coming up this Thursday night at 9 o'clock right here on Twitch. So speaking of that, here's what we're gonna do. I don't know if I don't have anything for After Dark. So unless anybody has some real hot topic they want to talk about and they want to jump into the green room, we could talk about it. But what I did want to say is, so this week, we're in the playoffs. We're moving from the wild card to the quarterfinal. Of course, we need to do 2 shows this week. This Thursday night at 9 p.m. is my normal time, and we'll still do the show at 9 o'clock. But we also have the minor league games starting. I think there's one at 7 and one at 9. I've already talked to Cam, and we're going to work it out where I'm going to move these circles over, move everybody over closer to Tyler, and we're going to use this square that you see over here under me to have a live feed on the SFL minor league game that's going on at 9 o'clock. So that way you can do both. You can be here and you can watch the game. We'll make everybody happy. So we'll be here. We'll be back this Thursday, 9 p.m. But before that, tomorrow night, 2 things going on. At 8 o'clock, Axel Raven's show, I want to make sure I get the name right, Minor League Fights and Insights, is on at 8 p.m. Eastern. Right after that, we have the debut of Simulation Nation. I believe Cam Curtis is the creator. I don't believe he's hosting it. I know Coach is going to be doing a segment on there. This is a brand new show that will be debuting tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, right after Axel Raven's show. Of course, Thursday before our show, I'm sure AJ will be releasing her show. I think she releases usually on Thursdays. And then Friday night, of course, we have Say It With Your Chest and NETMA. And I'm assuming, Tyler, correct me if I'm wrong, Nelson's not back yet, correct?
No, unfortunately, I haven't heard from Nelson in a while.
Okay, no worries. On Friday, what time are you on, and what time is Eddie on?
I'm on at, let's see, going into conversions here, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, and then Eddie follows an hour right after mine, so 7:30 p.m. Eastern for the Friday Football Feast. See everybody. Again, it's an early time for everybody on the Pacific Coast, but as many people as we can get, we'd love to see you. Always happy to have you on board, and for everybody that watches after each show, thanks for helping us out over on NETMA. Again, we moved over to YouTube instead of being on Twitch. Link to which is in the NETMA server channel. I'll go ahead and put a link here in the chat so that way you guys know where to go.
Perfect. Also, I saw something written that I thought it said the games were at 7 and 9. Are both games on at 9?
Negative. So the first game will start at 7, and the third game will start at 9, but the second and fourth games will start 20 minutes after.
Oh,
each
so there'll be 2 games, 9, 9, 20. Okay, well, we'll figure it out. I'm in contact with Cam to figure out a way to do it, so we should be good. All right, folks, that's a wrap. Unless anybody, Doug Britton's back in the house. Let me see what Doug Britton, did you come back? Doug Britton, did you come back on for After Dark? Did you have something you want to talk about, or did you just jump back in, or did you jump out and have to come back in? I don't even know what's going on. I don't know what's going on my own show. And Doug Britton's not answering me.
No, I just jumped back in just to join the chat.
Gotcha. Just wanted to make sure I saw you in the green room. All right, well, No Access After Dark tonight. There's the links for Tyler's show. We got a lot of stuff going on the next few nights. Eddie Gage is Eddie says he may not be doing a show this week due to game planning for Atlanta. So stand by for updated news from Eddie on Say It With Your Chest. In the meantime, we've got all those other shows to listen to, and we'll be back here Thursday night at 9 o'clock. Special thanks to Charles Doherty, Nate Hall, Coach Craven, Tyler Falk, Doug Britton, Will Todd, Jack Brown, Andy Hamilton, of course, my main man Gunny, and all the hats, all the koozies, all the cats, all the spills, all the thrills, the whole 9 yards tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Tyler was responsible for most of that. So thanks for tuning in. Party people, love you. Love you all. I love you guys being in the chat. Love the interaction. Appreciate everybody being here. Appreciate all the back and forth. Appreciate all the subs, the follows, all that stuff. It's all great. The hype trains, for God's sake, it's all awesome. So thank you again for that. Have a glorious night. We'll see you right back here Thursday night on Twitch at 9 o'clock when we see you at the tees.